All right, thanks everybody for taking the time to review the overall Flex experience with us today. What we'll do is go through a presentation of the capabilities available to you guys and the employers and the employees, and then we'll do a demonstration of both the Cobra website, employer and employee website, and that'll be Debbie going through that. And then I will go through our myflexaccount.com website, which will be the website that employers and employees would go to for FSA, HRA, and any other additional products they decide to offer. So for this presentation, we're going to review some of the products and plan options available, the different technology and capabilities, the employer and employee experience and overall employee engagement, and the overall service that we provide. Okay, so the first services that we offer, of course, are HRAs and FSAs. HRAs, we have 6 different HRA options, 2 of which are new as of 2020. The most common HRA option that we offer is going to be the integrated HRA, and that's probably what most of you are used to seeing, but we do also offer a retiree HRA, which we see a little bit of interest in, the QSERA, so the Qualified Small Employer HRA, and a limited purpose HRA, which reimburses either just dental or just vision or dental and vision. And if you have any employers that are showing interest in this individual coverage HRA or the accepted benefit HRA for 2020, let us know, and that's something we can help with. Okay, now also with HRAs, you know, there's lots of different options available to employers to set up an HRA, not only with plan design, but also eligible expenses. So some of the different eligible expenses on the HRA can be deductible, coinsurance, copay, all of those together. You can set up an HRA to only cover prescriptions, and you can put a card with that so they can take their card and pay for their prescriptions only with that HRA. You can set up an HRA similar to the FSA, where all 213D expenses are included. Also, both embedded and aggregate are available, and we have many groups on either of those options. And then there's plan design. So you can go extremely simple with an HRA, or you can get extremely complex with the HRA plan design. And we really offer all of it. Ideally, the simpler, the better with an HRA, but there are some unique situations that employers and brokers are looking for, and usually we can use an HRA to try and match a particular situation that an employer is looking for. Okay, now flexible spending accounts, I won't go through this in great detail because I think you're all pretty familiar with the FSA, but we do offer the FSA with the dependent care and the limited purpose. Also included in this is the option for commuter benefits too. So if that's something that you guys are thinking about administering, or if the groups are interested, that's something we can add on to this as well. The limited purpose FSA, if you have an employer who offers an HRA with an HSA, you can add this limited purpose FSA on, and they can use that for just their dental or vision expenses and treat that HSA more like a savings account. So feel free to reach out to Flex with questions on any of these benefits. We're here to help. Now, our Flex Cobra solution, Debbie will be going through both the member and the employer website on the demonstration today. And the Cobra solution, both the member and the employer website are super easy to use, extremely intuitive. Our Cobra service includes election notices, billing, payment collection, event tracking, and more. As you'll see during the demo, there's real-time updates. So when the member makes an update online, that's a real-time update to the admin and the employer website. Easy payment solutions online, integrated mail fulfillment, accurate and timely premium remittance, and a very full suite of reporting options, which Debbie will show you guys in a little bit. Also, there is a broker website available, which we won't show you today, but the capabilities on the broker website are similar to that of the employer website, but it allows a broker to view multiple employer accounts if they have multiple employers. Now, just breaking down the Cobra a little bit between the employer and employee website, this is just a quick overview or a quick screenshot of what that employer website looks like. It's extremely user-friendly with easy navigation. Again, there's that full suite of reports, so if there's anything that an employer contact needs a report on, it's going to be available in our Cobra portal. They can manage qualifying events online. They will also have a dedicated, new business and renewal specialist that will work with them throughout the implementation and then each year at renewal. And we have a service team available to help throughout the year as well. Online resources and guides. So if there is anything that an employer does not know how to do online, we, of course, in service are available to help them. They can call their account rep, but there's a learning central on the website where they can access any information or guides or resources that they need on the website, and Debbie will show you that as well. The employee website is extremely intuitive, and there's not too much that an employee would need to go online for, but they can go online to actually enroll. So online in open enrollment or online elections are available. They can make their payments online, so they can do one-time or reoccurring ACH payments. They can also pay with a credit card or debit card online if they needed to. We do provide coupon books to simplify the payment experience. And employees can also view any of their notices online and also add dependents online as well. And so you'll get a really good overview of that from Debbie in just a little bit. Now, moving on to the solution for our FSA and HRA. Our FSA and HRA products are all on www.myflexaccount.com. And if an employer also offers HSA or commuter benefits, those would be on this website as well. It's a single platform for all accounts. And if any of their accounts have debit cards, it would be just one debit card for all of those accounts. So if they did have FSA with commuter or FSA dependent care and commuter, it would just be one debit card, and the card is smart enough to understand when they swipe that card, whatever that merchant category code is, it would apply that to the appropriate benefit. We do have a mobile app as well and the website, which we'll get a thorough review of in a little bit. We have a 24/7 IVR that the employee can call and reach the IVR for information on their account, or if they needed to report a debit card lost or stolen, they could do that through our IVR as well. And then we'll just review some of the different educational tools and support that's available as we go through this presentation, and even more so once we get through the demonstration of the website. Claims integration and e-claims. So we do offer the option for claims integration for a large number of medical carriers and also many ancillary carriers as well. If it's not something that we currently have a carrier connection with, we may be able to actually get that connection. So if a group is interested in having their claims electronically transferred to us from their carrier, that's something that we can do depending on who that carrier is. It is something that the employees have to opt into if the employer offers that. There's a couple of different options if the employer offers the claim integration. One would be to have those claims auto pay, which means if the employee is signed up for CrossTech, we receive those claims electronically from their carrier, whether it's their medical, dental, or vision carrier, and then that's processed against whatever benefit that employee has. And if that's eligible for reimbursement, it will automatically reimburse to that employee, either via check or direct deposit, depending on what's offered by the employer. The other option outside of the auto pay is e-claims. So e-claims is the same setup. The employee has to opt into it. But when we receive those claims, rather than automatically paying that out to the employee based on their account, we will load those claims onto the participant portal, and the participant can log online and view the claims that have come through to us from their provider. So when those are from their carrier. When those claims come through and they're displayed on the website, the employee has the option to click on that claim and reimburse themselves. They can either reimburse themselves, or if the group offers the debit card, they can swipe their debit card for that expense. So if they get a bill from the hospital, they can use their debit card. And then once that claim comes through to us, that charge will automatically substantiate. So it's the option to have the debit card with the electronic transfer of their claims to allow for auto substantiation, or they can reimburse themselves on the website. So a couple of different options there, and that's always something that the brokers, you guys at Gallagher, or the employers can reach out to us and ask questions as to whether or not that's available for them, and if we think it's a good idea for them as a group. Now, for our FSA, HRA, HSA commuter benefits, myflexaccount.com is the website. I am going to go through this in great detail as we do that demonstration, but just a quick overview of some of the capabilities. We do offer online enrollment for FSA or commuter benefits, and of course HSA. They can do contributions and distributions online specific to HSA and or commuter. Lots of different communication options, which I'll show you in a little bit. Our mobile app specifically has a barcode scanner where they can go to like a CVS or a Walgreens, pick up an item, and use that barcode scanner to determine whether or not that item is FSA or HSA eligible. So that's kind of a fun thing that they can use on the mobile app. I think the mobile app is a really great tool and a really good way to administer or manage your benefits. They can pay their bills online, so specific to HSA, they can do online bill pay. Or if the employer offers for check reimbursement, allows for check reimbursement, they can elect to pay their provider online as well. Now, just a quick overview of the overall employer experience. We'll start with onboarding, move on to some of the plan options and capabilities online, and then just the overall service experience for that employer contact. Now, onboarding, we feel, is really the most important part of the administration process. It's a first impression and an opportunity for us to set that employer up for success. So it starts with an interactive web-based phone call with the employer and broker and the implementation specialist at Flex. We'll go through and confirm or gather the data of what their plan design is, what they like that reimbursement schedule to be, what that experience is going to look like for the employees. So once we get the census, how are the employees getting notified to register online? So we'll go through really that whole process with the employer, how the funding is going to work, and make sure that they have a good understanding of the administration going forward. Post-implementation phone call, the implementation specialist will follow up with an email and provide plan documents, and then request any additional information we might need from the employer to move forward. We'll get that account set up in the system. Once we've gathered all the data, we'll load the employees and their benefits as needed, and registration emails will go out to the employees to move forward. Post-implementation, an email is provided to the employer with the employer and employee website guides, employer credentials to access our website online. At that point in time, we like the employer to take advantage of our offer to go through a full review of the employer website. If they will be managing the account online, we think it's important that they get some good instruction from the beginning on how to do that. But also the employer guide that we offer gives them detailed instructions on how to do anything that they would need to do on the website. And then just ongoing support throughout the year. So depending on what that benefit is, we'll work with the employer and make sure that them and their employees have everything they need and really understand the benefit. So just a couple of discussion topics specific to FSA an HRA that we'll go through on that call, or that might come up throughout the year. So cross-tech is one of the things that I mentioned. That's that claims integration option. So do they want auto pay? Do they want the e-claims where it will be auto substantiation with them to allow to reimburse themselves from those claims that load onto the participant portal? Do they have multiple benefits? So if a group has HRA and FSA, how will that work for the employee? What will pay out first? And if they have cards associated with any of those benefits, how will that work? If they have debit cards, we usually like to go through some of the substantiation options available to the employer, some of which we'll set up automatically. So copay matches. Anytime an employee swipes their card at a doctor's office or hospital, or like pharmacy, and it's a $20, $10, so 5, 10, 15, 20. Any of those amounts will go through as a copay and automatically substantiate on the FSA. If it's a pharmacy claim or anything that's IAAS, that will automatically substantiate on the FSA. So making it easy for the employee to really use their FSA benefits. We do have reoccurring expenses set up, or we can set them up depending on what the expense is. And so if they swipe their card multiple times at the same place for the same provider and we have that documentation, we set that up as a reoccurring expense. We also can offer some additional substantiation options if the employer is interested. We may have them sign off on it, but we can do a minimum transaction amount on the substantiation. So anything under $200 will auto-substantiate. Again, that's something the employer would need to sign off on or agree to at the beginning. But to make that an easier experience for the employees, and they trust that their employees are using that and would be able to substantiate it if they needed to, that's something that we can set up. So we like to give the options to the employer. Complex HRA plan design. So that's something, if it's not previously determined on the phone call or during pre-sale, that's something we can go through during implementation. What's the HRA plan design that you're looking for, and how can we help make it exactly what you need it to be? And then just ongoing support throughout the year. So they do have the dedicated implementation and employer support teams. Each group will have a dedicated contact post-implementation that they can reach out to throughout the year. And we'll provide that information to the employer post-implementation. And then they'll also receive our service information, so any of their employees can reach out to our service team at any time. Now, reporting. So our website for the employers has a lot of different functionality. We've got employers who want to be really hands-on and employers who prefer to be hands-off and maybe never want to log in here unless they absolutely have to. But if it is a hands-on employer or an employer who's wanting to run reports on their own, all of that information is available to them on our employer website. Employers can also offer broker access to the website, where they can go in, add interim employees throughout the year, or make updates to employee demographics information as needed. The reports are self-service, so at any time an employer can log in and run a report. But we do also schedule the reports, and I think there's another slide right after this regarding reporting. But also you'll see once we go through the demonstration, there's a library of resources online available. And if an employer needed to, they can also view employee transactions. It provides them limited information for security purposes, but if they needed to help an employee, they could see when they swipe their debit card and for how much. They can view employee card status. So if an employee's card got temporarily deactivated for some reason, the employer could go online and see that. They can also view the employee's registration status here. So they can, 1 month into their administration, they can log online to see how many of their 50 employees have actually registered on the website, which can be helpful if they have employees that come in and ask for questions or help with registration or say that they forgot their password. Obviously, they can reach out to Flex at any time to support that as well, but something they can do online if they need to. I will just touch on reporting again really quickly here, but The reports that we have available, I did mention that they're self-service and the employees or employers can log online and run those at any time. But we do, by default, set up reports for every one of our groups upon implementation based on what their reimbursement schedule is. So if they have weekly reimbursements, we'll send them an employer disbursements report showing them the payments that went out for that full week. If they have daily administration or daily reimbursements with debit cards, they'll get a daily settlement notification letting them know how much has been pulled from their account each day. And then we also set up monthly account balance reports for the employer as well. They can always turn those off, but if they would like to see a monthly update on how their benefit is running, we do set that up by default. We also have an analytics platform internally that we use, specifically our account managers will use to let groups know how they're doing throughout the year. So if it's a large FSA group, we can give them an idea of how well their employees are really utilizing the benefits and how many of their employees are registered online, or if they're having a lot of issues with substantiation, we can see that and we'll through that analytics platform and let the employer know that maybe there's some issues with substantiation and give them some opportunities or ways that they can try and improve that. Now, just overall, the service experience that we provide to the employers is pretty comprehensive. Flex is not only a TPA, but we're also a general agency, and we do sell insurance. So not only is our TPA team available, but if there are questions that come up from brokers or employers specific to medical insurance or things like that, chances are we have somebody that's available within Flex that can help them out. So just being overall benefit experts at Flex goes a long way with our service team. We do have that dedicated implementation team, making sure that that onboarding experience is smooth, and really the follow-up after that is extremely important as well. So once everything is set up and the group is good to go, we don't just let them go after that. We make sure that we're touching base with the employer and the employees throughout the year to ensure that they have everything that they need. Now, the employee experience, I'll just go through some of the ways that we can really empower the employees to use these benefits available to them and keep them engaged throughout the year. There's lots of tools and resources online that can really help an employee manage their account, and we'll just talk about a couple of those things now. So pre-open enrollment or during open enrollment, we do have different ways that we provide enrollment support to employers and employees. We will offer webinars available to the employer during or prior to open enrollment to ensure that the employees have a good understanding of the benefits available to them. We have lots of different enrollment materials that we can provide. And also, not only at those meetings, but online, we have different enrollment materials and tools that the employees can use to determine whether or not they want to elect, and if they do want to elect, how much is a good idea to elect. So different tutorials and calculators on the website that I'll show you that can do that. Also just how-to videos and videos about what is an HRA or what is an FSA that will help those employees who really don't know anything about the product and if they want to enroll in that. Also our call center support. So our call center for FSAs, HRAs specifically is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for employees. And we'll go through a little bit more of that service in just a minute. One of the things that we encourage for FSA groups and HSA groups specifically is our engagement campaign, and it's an open enrollment email campaign with either 3 or 4 messages depending on the benefit. And it's just a series of messages, email messages, helping them decide whether or not it's a good idea for them to elect and how much. So the progress is understanding the FSA or HSA benefits and planning for those out-of-pocket expenses. The next one is a quiz that they can go through to determine what's a good election amount. And then asking the right questions and saving for the future. So is it a good idea to elect an FSA to save? What do I have to save for if I'm being offered an FSA? what types of expenses am I going to have throughout the year, dental, vision, etc., and how much should I elect for that? And then bringing it all together and then giving them those next steps to move forward with enrollment if they choose to do so. Not only is it important to engage the employees in the beginning of the year or at open enrollment, but also throughout the year. So if they elect that benefit and they elect $2,700 or $2,750 maybe in 2020, we want to make sure that they're using that benefit. As we all know, the FSA is use it or lose it to a point if there's no carryover. And so we need to make sure that the employees understand that they have those funds available to them and are utilizing it so they don't realize at the end of the year that they have $2,500 to spend or $2,700. So we do send topical emails throughout the year that will address maybe something that's seasonal or at the end of the year, letting them know that they have those funds available. Or if they haven't signed up for direct deposit, we'll make them aware of that situation as well. So those emails could be a variety of different things that are keeping the employees and employers informed, and also basically reminders that they have these benefits available to them. Now at Flex, we are extremely committed to quality service. I am part of our service department, and all of these things are extremely important to me. I think with any administration, any business relationship, service is going to be the #1 important thing. So our service line has a language line with over 180 different languages. We do also have Spanish-speaking representatives in the office as well for both the employer and employee services. Call monitoring. So we do call monitoring for all of our customer service reps on a regular basis, on a weekly basis. And claim audits also occur on a weekly basis internally as well. We have customer service surveys at the end of both of our emails and phone calls that we can use to both get some great testimonials, and if there's something we can improve upon, this is a good way for us to find that out. What are the employees and employers looking for? And so those surveys are important for us to stay on top of our game and improve if there's anywhere that we need to do that. Training programs. So all of our CSRs and claims processors go through a thorough training program, and they do both online training, videos, and real training on what's the word I'm looking for, like fake phone calls as well, before they actually go on to the live service line. We also have a quality compensation program for our CSRs and claims processors, and that's going to be based on responses from their surveys and their audits. And each representative has the opportunity to earn up to an additional $350 a month. So not only as a company are we really committed to that quality service, but we make sure that our employees have that same commitment as well. Okay, and this is just a quick slide with some of the testimonials that we've gotten from our different employers and customers. But right now I'm going to pass it over to Debbie so that she can share the Cobra employer and employee portal with you.
All right. Thank you, Megan. That was some great information. And let me...
Do you have the option to share? Are you seeing that?
You know what?
Let me stop sharing there.
Yep, there you go. That's perfect. All right. And let me... All right. All right, and welcome everybody. And just let me know if you can see my screen. It should say, welcome to Green's Grocery Supply.
Yep, I can see it.
Oh, great. Again, thanks everyone for joining us today. And today we're going to go over the employer, also known as the client portal, and we're going to go over the member portal for Cobra and direct billing. So this is our home page here, and our employer portal is really just a really great resource to allow you to access information quickly and easily, and really anytime from anywhere. So it's just really great. Our teams took a lot of time to do usability studies to make sure the navigation and the steps in the employer portal, so this left-hand navigation, are really intuitive and easy. So it's a very easy walkthrough for you to get all the information that you would need. Really, for you, it reduces operational demands and just really fully automated hands-off processing. So in our employer portal, you can run reports anytime, 24/7. You can review member information. You can add members. You can review implementation details such as plans and rates. And then you can do import files if you need to do that. So what I'll do here are on our homepage, we have our messages. So of course, as Megan mentioned, we're going to communicate with you so many different ways. You're going to have resources that you can use to communicate to us. But we can also put a message out here in regards to anything happening or some reminders that we would like to do. We also have different categories of how you can find a member, or you can definitely add a member on just this home page as you come in. And we'll get back to that, to the find and add member, when we get to that tab. The next tab is our account tab. Now, this is going to be where you can view all your information that's been loaded in the system, and you're really going to understand how the system is working for you and what you have in here. Of course, during the onboarding and implementation, we're going to gather all of this information. So I'll go through this quickly, but the employer profile, that's just going to be your information. The settings, this is going to be as you go through learning about direct bill or Cobra, which is also qualified beneficiary, how you have that set up. Are you doing online enrollment? Are you doing coupons? Are you doing premium notices? Again, we'll figure that out as we go through our onboarding implementation, but all of that information will be right here for you to reference. We'll have the contact information, so that's whoever's going to get any of the reports, or the contact who's getting in the system for the employer. You can add or edit the contacts as you like. And then we have the plans. Of course, you can see we can enter many different types of plans. And if you click on each plan, it's really going to detail that information. Again, we'll gather that information from you, but it's nice that you can come out here and look at the effective dates and any of the rates as well. We can do bundles too. So if you have anything, maybe a medical and a dental plan that are always together, we can set up bundles for you. So our continuation rule. So this is a really great one. We know a lot of our states continue above and beyond that 18 months of Cobra. And so if you have anything like that, or even if you have just a plan you need to get on here that's a little bit less than maybe the 18 days, we can set up rules for you, and we'll discuss that. But actually for this one, we have, it's the month is 36 months. So that's a little bit longer. We could do 60 months. We could do anything. And we could have different groups in there as well. So we can set those continuations for those states. Billing frequency, this is for our direct bill members. Our direct bill members are leave of absence retirees. And this is where you can set up their payments monthly, weekly, biweekly. And then divisions. I think divisions are important. So this is just the same information as the employer profile, but for each division, you can set this up for each of those. So you have that profile here. And for a division, a lot of people use it, like let's say if you have a Northwest or a Southwest division, you can have different contacts set up for the Northwest as opposed to the Southwest. And each contact in each division will only be able to see that information. And of course, if they have different plans and bundles, you can set that up under each division as well. That kind of helps you keep organized with different employers with divisions. Communication, now this one is going to be just the letter that we send out letting the contact know how they actually get into the system. All right. Now we're going to go to our members. And this is where you can add a member. Of course, you can do an import with that information or an integration we'll talk about. But if you, for some reason, needed to add or enter a person, you can do it right here. Again, the qualified beneficiary is our Cobra participant. It'll walk you right through. It'll tell you what's required and walk you through those exact steps that you would need to enter a member. Again, our direct bill, you can enter direct bill. That is, if there's no payroll deduction for anybody, you could do that as an active employee sometimes. Sometimes it's a retiree. So it's that retiree or leave of absence. and then our new hire. So let's say your company hired a new employee, they were going through their active benefits, but you also need to let them know that because they're in your active benefits and they're an employee of your company, that they do have rights to Cobra. And so this will send out their initial rights information. All right, the next one is find a member. So of course, if anybody calls or you need to reference anything, there's different categories here, many ways for you to be able to find a member. I always usually just do by last name. Click the find member. You can see that they pull up. It lets me know this is a Cobra participant, qualified beneficiary. It has that arrow, which kind of lets it drop down to give me some more information in regards to that member. I can also click on the name of the member, and this is where I'm going to get the detailed information. Again, this treetop information kind of follows me as each screen that I go to figure out anything that I need to know about Patrick and his, what maybe his amount to due or his event date. That's very important. But I can also drill down here into more member information, their event information, and then additional information like disability or if they had a subsidy would all be right here. And then on this left navigation again, I can just drill down. So I'm drilling down into Patrick's plans with that arrow. I can see kind of just, some of that information I might want to know, but I can drill down to see how many months he's covered and is he actually enrolled in the plan. I can also see that he does have a dependent, and maybe I want to see more about the dependent, so I can go back to that left navigation to find out more about the dependent. You can just see, again, here's just an example of all the different types of coverages that we can enter into our system. Let's go to our dependent. This is our dependent, Shauna. You can get kind of just her, treetop information there on her. But if we want to drill down and see what plan she's also covered on, we can do that here. If they had any subsidies, we do have one here for an amount. We can do a flat or a percentage on the subsidy. You can edit those subsidies right out here or even add a subsidy if you wanted to. In our payments, this is a great one. We have a lockbox aware. So if a member goes online and makes a payment, you're going to see that right away here. If they send in a payment and we are processing that for you, we're going to look at when it was sent in. So of course, we're going to make sure they're in their grace period for Cobra. They have the 30 days, and we're going to be able to see that. So let's say it was due on October 31st, and we didn't get it till November 3rd, but the postmark was October 31st. That's where you're going to see this date and time. We'll be able to accept that because we're aware, Lockbox aware of the date, and we'll be able to process that for you. And you're going to see the date and time for those. It's also going to give you more information of how this came in, the date of postmark, and how it came in. The premiums paid, this is just going to drill down and let you know what coverages it paid for. Premiums due, this is just a listing of, for that member, all the premiums that are due. If we had a letter insert, so when we're doing state continuation or even as you're importing or manually adding them if you needed to do that, you could add any of the state continuation letters as we go through. Letter attachments, let's say you wanted to send just to a group who have the your medical plan on a certain medical plan. If they needed some updated information or a change in the benefits, you could attach that information and we could send it out for you. And then the tab I always love is going to be our communications tab. So you can see the date and time that the member received the letter, how they received it through a letter. Some of the communications we can send email if the member signs up for that. And then you actually can pull up as a PDF the actual letter. So if you need that at all. So it's great reference. We always hear people say, I didn't get the letter, but we know here exactly when it went out and we can get a copy of that. So that's really nice. All right. The next one is our imports and reporting. And so I'm going to go over reporting first. And our system just groups these into two different categories, and they're really for your convenience. They're our standard and our accounting reports. So for our standard reports, we have many different ones, and they are, you can see some are just direct bill, and then the rest are Cobra here. A few that I like to talk about are our member status report And so that one, and you can see that if you just scroll over it, it's going to tell you exactly what that member status report is for. So you know if you need to run that or not. But this one is just a summary of all member records in the system that have a status of pending, enrolled, terminated, and by a certain date. So let's just click in here. So this one, you can do it by date range here. You can mask the SSN if you'd like, but there's 4 different formats that you can run this report in. You can do it in Adobe, you can do it in CSV, you can do it in Access or XML. And each time you run it, you can do it in a different type of format. Now this report, it would have an email address in here. And what's going to happen is we're not going to email the report to you, but we're just going to really let you get a notice that there is a report out here for you to review, that it is done and it's running. So you're going to go out to the job queue and all your reports will be out here and you would just review that or view it out here. Some more of our standard reports that we really like that are useful is our QB summary report. That one is a listing of all our QB records in the system group by status. And then our generated detail report. And that's going to really give you a listing of members who receive letters in a specific date range. So if you want to look, carrier notifications that's always a good one as well. Right, the next one is our accounting reports. And our accounting reports, these contain information related to payments, refunds, subsidies, and the remittance, of course. Again, you can run these anytime that you want. So our remittance is really a breakdown of the premiums dispersed to you. And this is just at a touch of a button. So we're always going to do the remittance, and then we're going to throw it out here for you. And let's go to the job queue here. We can pull up this remittance for you. And it's a really nice report that you can actually, let me pull it over here. This is going to tell you again the breakdown of premiums dispersed to you. So you can kind of walk through that. It's going to give you the totals, any that we remit to the carrier. If there was anything on here that had adjustments, you can see there was an election change for Patrick, the one we used, and that's the adjustment information. So that's just a really great report for your reference. All right. And then imports. So if you can definitely manually enter somebody if you'd like, but if you definitely have a large group, you may want to do an import. You can do that right here. There can be some integration within systems as well that we can talk about. So imports are a great way to just get a lot of information into the system quickly. The next one is our recent activity. I love this one as well. We know we're all busy, so we're always kind of working on something and then we get pulled away. But this just lets you know exactly who you were working on before. So we were talking about Patrick Tavler, who's actually active in our system. When we go to the member portal, we're going to talk about Jenna. And you can see here, Jenna, we're just going to reference hers, that she is not yet elected. So that's kind of nice. We'll see, and we'll go through her election when we go to our member portal. And then it's our Learning Central. So if you have any questions, like Megan mentioned, you're able to come to us. We're going to help you with any kind of questions that you have with the member or with the employer site. But if you have anything that you might want to reference yourself or look at, you can come out to the Learning Central, and it's a great guide. And let's say we wanted to look at reports. I just want to see again what this reports and what does it contain. It shows us we have the accounting and standard reports. Let's say I wanted to look at a standard report, and I want to really know what that carrier notification report is. It'll tell you how to how to run it, what it is, and then it gives you a great example of actually what that report is, which is really nice. All right, so that is our employer portal. And so now, like I said, we're going to go to our member portal, and we're going to follow Jenna through her process. Let's just move this over here. And hopefully everyone now can see the member portal. And I've already actually gone in and registered the member. They're going to get all this information when they get that first initial enrollment paperwork or the Cobra rights paperwork. And as we go through this, you can see again, we have that left-hand navigation that's going to tell us exactly how we're going through the election process here. So once the member gets on, they can come out here and make their initial election if they would like. It's going to give them their information here and then everything that they can elect. So maybe they want to elect everything. They can hit that button right there. But let's say they just want to, I'm just going to do dental this time. And I know I don't think I'm going to, it's Cobra, it's expensive. So I might change that coverage level. And if you watch the amount right here, as soon as I change this, I'm going to do QB only. That amount changes automatically right there. And it does give me an error message letting me know that, you change your coverage level, but you still have dependents on this plan. So if I wanted to make sure I take them off, that error message would go away. Now I'm thinking, I think I'm going to keep them on. We had some dental work that we need to continue to make sure we get covered. Again, I changed that coverage level. Now it's letting me know that you don't have enough dependents covered. So I'm going to select my 2 dependents. You can see my amounts changed as well. And before we actually add the election, I just want to point out this top part here. We do open enrollment as well. So if they wanted to do, members need to do their initial enrollment here, and then it comes to be the open enrollment time, they can come back out here and make their elections for open enrollment. A little bit different about open enrollment. It'll actually give them, all your active plans. And then there's a link right next to each product name that actually could have the SPD or anything that you would like to link it to, that could pull up that they could look like, they wanted to know about the new dental plan. That would be right next to it for them. And then they can just, we can put in the days to enroll. We can also send email reminders, making sure that they get out there to enroll. All right, so I'm going to add the election here. It's going to give me confirmation that I elect there. Now I'm just going to go through an electronic acknowledgement that this is actually the plans that I want, and this is me who's submitting it. And on this one, as we go through our welcome and election, it's going to walk us through again, giving us those check marks saying, yes, this is the page you've already been through. So here's going to give us our election information, again, everything we selected. And it's going to let us know that we can, of course, pay by mail, or we can go on to the member portal, which is what we're going to do here. So here's our member portal. It's just welcoming us. We can make our payment. It's going to let us know our next payment and then when it's due. We can make a one-time payment with a credit card if we like, or we can set up recurring payments doing ACH or that bank routing. So let's go again to this left-hand navigation so I can walk you through all the information a member can see when they come out here. They can go to their profile and see their personal information if they can change if they need to anytime you have that little pencil. They again will see the product, what did they select, and the coverage amount, and then any registration information if they would need that again. All right, the next one is our payment information. And this one I really like. This is actually, I'm a visual person, so this is the payment schedule. So you can see as we go through, this month is paid, this is halfway paid, and you can see in pink what to do. Now, after I go through all the tabs on the left, I will go back and make a payment so that you can see that the payments are live, they're real time, and we'll be able to see how this green changes as I make that payment. They also have this great information at the bottom that tells you the amount owed, subsidy, amount paid, and amount due. I always like to look at the visual though. So the next one is our payment summary. Again, you can see how this follows us. A member can make a payment at any time. This gives them their payment summary and then their next payment. This is if they want to set up recurring payments, so they can choose when they want to have this actually pull from their bank account. And of course, we have grace period set up, so it's never going to make sure that they're not late on this. So if I set it up for 10/31, I could pick any date within that grace period, and then each month it's going to pull on 10/31. My first time I'm going to set it up, I'm going to have the bank name, all of my information. It kind of tells you what information it needs from your check. And then just like Amazon or anything else, it's just going to go through that process and pull right out. Again, you can do the one-time payment will be a credit card or debit card if you need to do that as well. All right, and then the last one here just shows just payment information, so the history. If there was voids, and I've done voids here because it is our demo site, but it would show all of the payments. So our preferences here, this is just our login information. communication, and this is as I was talking on the employer portal, this is where members can actually come out and it'll talk about this or it'll explain it to them in the letters that they get when they first come on. If they not want to go green, they can do email. So any letters that are not regulated that have to go United States Postal, if they choose email, those will all come to them via email. And what will happen is that it'll actually tell them that they have a communication out here in the member portal for them to view. All right, and then again, this is the communication activity tab, which again, members can come out if they like, I don't remember what that letter said, or I don't think I got my letter. They can come out, it's gonna be date, and then the type of letter, and then they can view that letter right here, which is really great. Any messages that we would like to send you, we can send you a reminder about open enrollment to the members. We could do open enrollment dates. Anything like that we can send to a group of members, like on just a medical plan or in a division, we can do that. And then the last one is our elections. Again, just showing us what elections we have made. So now I'm going to go back to our payment information and our payment schedule here. And I am going to go on my other screen into our admin side. So this is where, we're taking in the payment for your member. And we just got it, obviously, today. And we're going to post that today. And so you guys can see, or the member, so it's going to be in the employer portal and the member portal, that as soon as this posts, it's actually going to be shown on the site and with the portal. So, or in the employer and member. So I will just go kind of click out of this one and then click back in, and we'll go. And you could see last time it was just the green was just halfway. Now I've made a payment. And so they still have some that they owe, but you can see right away that I put that payment in, or right away as they make their payment out here on the member portal, this information is updated, which is just, lifetime 24/7. They can come out here and make payments and see that when they enter it, we got it. So there's no phone calls on, did you get my payment? It hasn't processed yet. So it's real time. So again, that's our member portal for Cobra and Direct Bill. We viewed the employer portal and the member portal. So thank you guys very much for your time. And if you have any questions, please let us know.
All right, thank you so much, Debbie.
Thank you very much.
That was a great overview.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to move forward then with the myflexaccount.com. Thanks again, Debbie.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks.
Bye, Debbie. Okay, so I am going to show you guys myflexaccount.com. MyFlexAccount is where you would go to access both the employer and the employer portal for HRA, FSA, or HSA or commuter. So as you can see, there's both an employer login here and here, and also the sign in, so account holder sign in or sign in here, and that's where the employee would go to log in. Sorry about that. I had to pause the recording because I accidentally disconnected my call. So we will move forward here with the FSA and HRA participant and employer portal. So like I said, myflexaccount.com is where you would go to access the portal. On this homepage, before you even register or log in, there's a library of resources available to both the employer or the employee or broker. And it's going to be specific to each benefit where you can access those resources. So we'll click on FSA because I know a lot of you guys have groups on the FSA or HRA plans. There's videos on what is an FSA. So there's one of those for each of the different benefits. And you can see here what is an FSA, also how to register online, and a website overview for the employees. All of our forms and guides are available online, and we do have a good number of our forms available in Spanish as well. And then there's these different tutorials and calculators that an employee can access if they're interested in maybe enrolling in one of these benefits, but maybe they're not sure how much they want to elect, or maybe they don't know what that benefit is, and they can go through this tutorial to determine whether or not it's a good idea for them to elect that benefit. So I'm going to go ahead and just get logged in as the employee. And if we have a little time, I'll show you a quick overview of the employer website as well. Really quickly before I do that, I'll also show you they have access to some additional information on our mobile app here before login. And the mobile app is available on the App Store or Google Play for Android, App Store for iPhones or iPads. I think the mobile app is really the best way to administer the account or manage an employee's account online, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Also FSA store. So if an employee has money left at the end of the year right now, they can actually come to our website and shop for FSA eligible items on FSA store if they wanted to spend down that money at the end of the year. But I will get logged in a second here, but one last thing I want to show you before we do that is this registration section. So upon implementation, once we receive the census of employees that are on the benefit, we will load those employees into the system, and assuming we get email addresses for everybody, an email will go out to each of those employees that are on the benefit with an employee and employer ID that they'll need to register. They'll create a username and password, enter in those IDs that are provided to them, click this accept the terms of use. Step 2 is just some security questions that they'll have to select and answer. And then step 3 and 4 are just really reviewing the information and submitting that registration. So once they get registered, it's pretty simple to sign in. So I'm going to sign in as an employee right now. Okay. So once signed in as an employee, it's going to bring them to their own personal dashboard. So the home screen that they're going to see is this personal dashboard with some quick links to do most of the things that an employee would want to do on the website most regularly. So submit claims, manage their debit card, access the forms or guides. This actions needed section here allows an employee to review any of their debit card charges that are requiring substantiation. So if an employee goes to the doctor's office or the dentist office, swipes that debit card, they had to wait to get that receipt or the EOB. Once they swipe that debit card and it gets approved, if it does require substantiation, it's going to pull up here, and you won't see one now, but just a line item with a clickable button that allows them to upload a document to that charge. And I'll show you kind of what that looks like when we go to submit a claim. Also on the personal dashboard, they're going to get an overview of their account. So any accounts that they have, so this one is specific to HRA and FSA. If there's anything else, it'll allow them to drop down and show them any of the benefits that they have. They can select to view just their previous year benefits, or just their previous, or their current, or both. At the end of the year or at the beginning of the next year, they may want to just specifically look at one benefit or another. Also available on the personal dashboard is this pending reimbursement section. Now, this is extremely helpful for employees and us on the service team, because a lot of times, depending on what the reimbursement schedule is, an employee will have submitted a claim and maybe a few days have gone by and they haven't received that reimbursement yet. And that could be based on that reimbursement schedule. So if the employer has a weekly reimbursement schedule, or better yet, a semi-monthly reimbursement schedule, there may be a claim that's approved and it will be reimbursed on a particular date. So they'll see that that claim is approved but not reimbursed yet. Any other recent reimbursements will also show up online for that employee to view. So if the employee is being reimbursed via check, it'll show up here and it'll show the check number. If they're being reimbursed via direct deposit, it'll show that that's an ACH. Their personal dashboard is going to show a recent transaction history. So any transactions that have taken place on that account, they could click and see a little further, and they'll see a list of all of their different transactions. So they can filter that out a little bit to see, okay, do I have any that are pending and processing, or which of my claims got denied? That might be something that they want to filter out. If they submitted a whole bunch of claims at the end of the year and there were 3 or 4 that got denied for some reason or another, they can filter that out to see that. And the personal dashboard basically just gives them a quick overview of that. Any deposits, so if they have transit or commuter benefits, those deposits will show up here under recent transactions. Any debit card swipes will show up under recent transactions. Any claims, any dependent care deposits, all of those are considered a transaction, and those will show up here. This get reimbursement widget, this will only show up to an employee if they have not yet selected direct deposit. So assuming an employer offers both check and direct deposit options for their employee, this Get Reimbursed Faster is only going to show up if they haven't added that direct deposit information. You'll see that pop up a couple of different times because it's really so much more efficient for an employee to elect direct deposit. They'll get their reimbursements faster. The employer won't have to track any checks that have gone out to the employee. So it's really just a good way for the employees to manage the accounts, and we definitely try to encourage that. These alerts, so any notifications or alerts that the employee is getting is going to show up here on the on this home page, and you'll see that a little bit more in communication. Again, access to the mobile app. Now, I mentioned these quick links. Now, everything that you can do in these quick links, you can also do by going to the menu at the top. So each of these little menu items has a drop down where you can go do very specific things. So I'm going to start at the My Info tab. We'll just kind of start from the beginning on the user profile. So once the user signs up, they have already set up their username and password. If for any reason they wanted to change their password, they would go to their user profile to do that. They can also access the user profile by clicking here on their name. So MyFlex account does allow for us to upload a profile picture, which is kind of fun. Seems like there's profile pictures on everything these days. So it's something that they can do. I actually have a profile picture on mine. They can, as an employee, they can come in here and update their email address. They can update their address information. They can update their direct deposit information or add direct deposit information. This is another section that they can go to do that. They cannot update a social, but you know, that's something we would have to do as Flex. But as an employer, you can also update their direct or their email address or their address as needed. An employee can also go on here to add a dependent. So I would say most specifically with FSA is when you're going to see employees adding dependents on the website, because maybe they have a child who's going away to college and they want to be able to provide that child their own credit card or their own debit card on the Flex account. So they can add that dependent information, either use the primary address that's already on there or enter in a new address and have that debit card sent out to the employee or the dependent directly. Okay, so this is pretty much it for the employee profile section. Also under this My Info tab, they can view their debit card status. So this allows an employee to go on and see that they have a debit card, what the last 4 digits of that card are, and they can also report their card lost or stolen online. They can also report a card lost or stolen by calling our customer service line, and we at Flex can report that card lost or stolen. They can also do it through the IVR. When they do it through the IVR, they will need to identify some personal information in order for us to make any updates to that card. Okay. Now, pretty much everything else under this section, we were able to view when we clicked on user profile. So next I'm going to go to the My Account section. This allows you to get a good overview of your account. So this benefit account summary, we have claims activity, transactions, which we already clicked on when we were viewing the personal dashboard, any pending reimbursement, which is another widget that pops up on the personal dashboard, the actions needed section, allowing an employee to go there to see if they have any charges that are pending substantiation, and then submit claims in Claims Locker. So the Claims Locker is basically just a section on the participant portal where they can go to upload claims or load claims, but not yet submit them. So you have employees, more specifically with FSA, who elect, $2,500 for the year, and they're spending that money throughout the year, but they don't actually want to submit any of those claims until December 20th because they want to use it all for Christmas money. So this Claims Locker allows for an employee to go online, load all of their claims, get them ready to go, and then come December, actually submit those claims. It's also a place where an employee can go if they have an HSA, and really there's no documentation required for HSA unless, at the end of the year you were audited by the IRS. This allows an employee or an account holder to just save their receipts somewhere electronically, and that they can always go there to reference back to that if they needed to. Something, for an HSA that they may want to do if they were by any chance audited by the IRS. Okay, so this is just a benefit account summary. So we've got the HRA here and the FSA. So any accounts that I have are going to show up here. Again, they can select to view previous, current, or all at the same time. So the Hra account overview is going to give them the allocation to date. So what's the election amount? They have $2,500 that they've elected. So far, they've only been reimbursed $2.50, leaving them a balance of $24.97.50. It's going to give them their deadline. So start and end date of the plan, and also the last day to submit claims and the last day for spending. So that's helpful. With the Hra, usually there's a run out period. So they know that in this case, most cases with an Hra, the last day for spending is going to be the last day of the plan year, really all cases, but unless they have a carryover. And then the last day to submit claims will be whenever that run out period is. Now, the flexible spending account could be the exact same way. They may just have a carryover, or they may have a grace period. So that last day to submit claims and that last day for spending may be different based on the plan and whether they have a grace or carryover. So these are helpful for them to determine that. If we click here on View Details, it even breaks it down a little more and makes it more visual for the employees. So they can see what today's date is, how much longer they have to spend money on that account, and then how much longer they have until they need to submit those claims. The family details. So this can be helpful, really helpful with an HRA, most specifically with like an embedded HRA. It's going to break down those family details. So on an embedded HRA, it'll show each of those family members and the amount that they specifically have available to them. But in the case of like an FSA or an HRA that's not embedded, it'll basically just show those those dependents that have been added on the website and whether or not they're active. Adding dependents is not a requirement on the website for an FSA or an HRA unless the HRA is embedded. So just something to make a point of there. And then this account overview is basically just going to break things down a little bit more for them. What are their payroll deposits? So specifically with dependent care, we are tracking those payroll deposits. So they may elect $2,000 for the year, but what they have available to them is only going to be what they deposited year to date. So each payroll date, they're going to see a new deposit that pops up in here, and it's going to keep track of their year-to-date deposits, which is helpful. on both the dependent care and the commuter benefits. Specific to the FSA, not as important because what they elect is available to them at 100%. Okay, so from this account details section, they can actually go directly to submit a claim, or they can go back to this account list and see all of the accounts they have. So I'm going to go to submit a claim here. Again, there's multiple ways they can do that. They can do that here in the drop down. They can do it from their personal dashboard on that easy clickable link. Or if they're already in their account, maybe now they decide they want to submit a claim. So this online form is extremely simple. All they really need to do, this does give them some instructions, and like for an FSA, we do include, okay, do you have all of this information included on the document that you are going to attach as substantiation? So service date, so we'll just enter in October 1st, enter in a $1,000 claim. We'll enter in a $10 claim here. The employees do have the option to either pay themselves or pay provider if the employer offers check reimbursement. So in order to be able to select this pay provider, the employer must offer check reimbursements, because when we do a pay provider, that's released from the system via check. If the group only offers direct deposits and debit cards, then this pay provider online is not an option. But if they do offer that check reimbursement, this is a super good way to do it. The employee would just need to select pay provider, add their provider information, and it'll require the provider name and address, and then the check would be issued out to the provider. But we're just going to keep it as pay me for now and go to the next step here. So to submit the documentation when submitting a claim, they would just click this attached receipt, and then they can either browse and find that documentation that they've got saved on their computer, or they can simply drag and drop that receipt into here. The claim submission on the mobile app makes it extremely easy to upload a document or really submit a claim. So basically they go through that same claim submission process. It's going to look similar to that, but it's on the mobile app. So it's basically just this little screen here. And then when they get to that option to upload the receipt, they can either upload it from the pictures or documents on their phone, or they can simply take a picture of the receipt at that time. It gives them the option to select to take a photo. They can take that picture and click submit. So that's super easy, either on the website or the mobile app. Okay, so we're going to move on to the communication section here. So communication settings. Our website offers lots of different options for communication. So as you can see here, there's a long list of different communications that we have available to go out to the employees. Automatically by default, they'll all be set up as email, but the employee can go in here and add their cell phone number and elect to get their notifications either via text or email or both. So I could elect to get text and email messages notifications on almost all of these. I think there's just one or two that are only available via email. So lots of different options for the employee, which makes it, helpful. I get notifications on my phone every time I enter a claim or swipe my debit card. So it's nice for employees with a card to make sure that they've got their card and they're the ones using it. Yes, this one here, this is only sent via email. So also under the communication section, alerts and messages. So any notifications that the employee does receive via email or text, they will get these alerts on the website. And if they remember that they received a notification, but they didn't remember when it was, or they didn't remember when they entered that claim online, because maybe they're still waiting on reimbursement, they can come back here and see those notifications that they've received. Now, announcements, this basically just allows for flex to, so this is an old one from when I got this particular person set up, but this allows for flex to add any announcements for the employees that we might want to add. And then this email us. So I know our service information is available pre and post login here. There's a phone number and service email, clickable service email address. They can also come here and email the service team directly from the website, either of these ways. When they do that, it's really helpful to them and to our service team because we'll automatically receive that employee's name, email address, and employer information. So that it's easy for us to identify who this employee is and then more quickly help them with what it is that they're looking for. All right, so I did mention online enrollment a little bit when we went through the presentation. Many employers already have an internal online enrollment process set up, but with the FSA and the transit or commuter benefits, we do allow for online enrollment. Now, because I already have the FSA benefit, it's not showing up here, but this is just a way for you guys to kind of see what that enrollment wizard looks like. So this particular group offers FSA, HSA, and Hra, and this person is now eligible for the HSA, let's say. So they'll go through this enrollment wizard. They go to enrollment here, click on online enrollment, and go through the enrollment wizard where they can, well, they will need to verify their information, validate that that's correct. The next step specific to FSA would be to elect a specific amount. So on the FSA, this is not a valid social, so it'll let them know if there's any issue with the account that they have set up. But on the FSA, they'll elect a particular amount for the year. It'll show them their payroll schedule, and then they submit that enrollment. When they submit that enrollment for FSA open enrollment and or commuter open enrollment, we at Flex will provide a report to you as the employer at the end of that open enrollment period. So let's say you have a week open enrollment. So from November 1st through the 7th, this online enrollment is available to the employee. On the 7th, if that's the last day, that enrollment won't show up anymore. It'll say your open enrollment period is over. Once that's over, we'll provide a report to you guys or to the employers and let them know who's elected the benefit. We can also provide a report every day throughout that enrollment period if that's what the employer would like as well. Okay, so this resources section, this is going to be basically the same resource section that we showed you pre-login. So it's going to give them the tools and resources they need to elect, or really any information that they might need on any of these particular benefits. A broker or employer could come in and access that information as well. So I did mention the FSA store. Again, once they log in, they can access this FSA store. It'll open in another window so they can click back to their Flex website if they need to. But this allows them to go online FSA store and purchase FSA eligible items. Also available here is an option to find eligible items, and that keeps you on the Flex website. And it's basically a searchable page here where they can find if anything is eligible for reimbursement. And we've got eligible with a prescription, eligible with a letter of medical necessity, or not eligible at all. So here's a list of all the different items. And if they type something in, so I don't know if I spelled that right. Oops. Well, yeah, I didn't quite do that right. But anyways, they can filter it out by eligible or not eligible. So if they wanted to see any of those items, they could do that here. All right, so moving along here, we've got this contact us. So again, this is just another place that they can go to contact Flex. So this email us, that little option will pop up again. Now, here is another place where they can go visit the marketplace. So not only are we connected with FSA store, but there's other links here where they can go purchase. So there's FSA, HSA store, Goodbye RX, different places that they can shop to on this marketplace here. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the employee website. Again, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to Flex. We are happy to help. Our service team is always available to answer any questions around the website or different benefits. since we have like 5 more minutes here, I'm just going to quickly open up the employer login here and show you what that looks like. So when an employer first gets set up, rather than them having to go through this registration process, the employer will actually receive their login credentials from their implementation specialist. So we'll send them an email with a username and password where they can go online, and when they click on that employer login, it's going to bring them to this wealth care admin, and that is the employer website. The employer website is very similar to the our back office website. So maybe I won't be able to get in here right now, but we'll try one more time. And if not, we'll do that. We'll go through that another day. Okay. So I guess I don't have the correct login right now. But anyways, that's where the employer would go to access the website. And we actually didn't get through this entirely on the call. And what we would like to do with each employer that gets set up on the Flex account, so once the employer goes through implementation, we encourage the employers to take advantage of an overview of the employer website. So when we send them that email with their credentials, we'll offer them the option to reach out to us to get a full overview of the employer website, where they can go to access reports, add or term employees online, view the registration status, and things like that. So I did just want to be able to show you that when an employer selects that, it's going to bring them to this wealth care admin, which is like the back office version of the website that we as administrators use as well. All right, well, thanks for taking the time to view the employer and employee website with us today on both myflexaccount.com and myflexcobra. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Flex and we'll be happy to help, and we'll provide you a copy of both the presentation that we shared earlier and these demonstrations of our websites as well. Thanks so much.